5-1-2-2 with 5 at the back and, well, let's say an overload of the attack when you have your wing bats getting forward. The 5-1-2-2 has recently gained the reputation as the most meta formation in FIFA 23. It's gone viral.
5-1-2-2. It's the 5-1-2-2.
5-1-2-2.
Most broken OP formation.
However, one thing people forget, there's always a counter. Gone ahead and I've tested various formations against other pro players, and what I discovered was the 4-2-2-2 is one of the best formations for countering this 5-1-2-2 setup. I wasn't going to release this video, but backed by a tweet from another pro in Europe, well, I thought to myself, my theory must be relatively valid. This is the custom tactics and player instructions for the 4-2-2 to counter the 5-1-2-2. In amongst showing you the tactics, we are going to get into the nitty gritty and the details of exactly why this formation counters the 5-1-2-2. But if we're going to jump into the tactics, on defensive style we have balanced. I don't really have it on anything else. I do like a simple defensive style simply because I'm a manual defender myself, right stick switching, and of course not so much relying on the AI too much, although there are situations where you will rely on it, whether it's second man press or in general just sitting back, but we'll delve into that a little bit later. In terms of width in the defense, we have this on 60. Now I'm going to tell you why. We have, of course, the wingbat of the 5-1-2-2 bombing forward. We need our wingbats picking up those left wingback and right back players as they are making overlap runs, and the majority of people using 5-1-2-2 are having their wingbats on overlap and join the attack. This is causing them to bomb forward, and we need our left and right back picking those players up. So the width is a little bit wider in terms of 60 width. We then also have 65 depth. It's a little bit higher. Reason being is because I do like to manually press my opponent higher up the pitch, almost like Pep Guardiola style, where you'll win the ball back as quick as you can. This is personal preference. There's no specific reason why I have that on 65, so you guys can choose what you want in terms of depth. However, on offense, we have it on fast build up. Now the reason why I have it on fast build up is simply because their wingbats are bombing forward. They're getting forward up the pitch. That means they're quite vulnerable in terms of the defense, especially if we're able to counter them with the 4-2-2. So once you win the ball back, there's going to be options for you guys to hit the width, hit the cam, the lamb ram, and essentially get in behind through that way. Now, the way the actual attacking lineup lines up against the 5-1-2-2, especially once the wing bats are forward, is there are 3 centre backs and there are 4 attackers. What does that mean? When you have your 2 strikers up against the 3 centre back line, they are hitting those gaps in between the left centre back and the centre back and the centre back and the right centre back. They are getting in between those gaps and they are pursuing forward through that in the attack. Your lamb and ram as well are on the outside of the left centre back and the right centre back. And if your opponent's wingbats haven't quite got back yet, you then have a 4-on-3 situation, especially in a counter-attack situation. You're probably thinking, we're not always going to be in a counter situation, Aussie FIFA. Well, you're correct, but what I will say is, even if the wingbats are back, the way the 4 line lines up is they will hit the holes in the gaps between the 5 back. You have your lamb hitting between the right wing back and the right centre back. You then have your left striker. In between that right centre back and the centre back. Your right striker in between the centre back and left centre back, and of course your ram in between the left wing back and the left centre back. This means when we progress forward, those players are going to hit those holes and you're going to be able to find their feet, especially if you're using the wing attack technique where you draw the defense out, and that's a highly recommended attacking technique for you. I've delved into that in my complete attacking tutorial, but if I'm going to briefly summarize what that means, essentially it's taking the ball to the width, then drawing the defense out, opening gaps in the middle. Your attackers will hit those gaps because they line up with them. Okay, you're going to be able to thread those through balls through, or in general hit their feet to turn and shoot. In terms of chance creation, it's on balance. The reason for this is, of course, I do want to have control over the way I am creating my chances. I don't want the AI necessarily keeping possession, getting into the holes. I don't want them making forward runs either, because I have, and you'll see in a minute, my wingbats on get forward and join the attack. So you'll see that in a second, but I also don't have a direct passing either, because I want control over my build up. I don't want the chance creation. I don't want the AI basically determining my chance creation, because they will make the AI players position themselves in a certain way. I like it on balance for this reason. I feel it works better against the 5-1-2-2. Width, very, very important. We want this relatively narrow, and I'll tell you why. If you have it too wide, then your strikers and your lamb and ram will be lining up with the attackers. The right striker will line up with the left centre back. The left striker will line up with the right centre back. Of course, your lamb and ram, they'll line up with the wing back. If it's too wide, that's why it's on 50, so they can hit those holes like I was explaining before. We then also have players in the bots on 5. That's pretty standard in my opinion. And in terms of instructions, we then have one of our strikers on getting behind. This is simply because I like one of my strikers making runs, and then like the other one showing the ball if I'm struggling to get the ball into their feet. I then have obviously stay back while attacking for my 2 CDM players, because I want them coming back, sitting back, and helping with the defense in this situation, because there is an overload in attack with the 5-1-2-2, which means if we have our 2 centre backs on stay back, it means they can line up with the 2 strikers, which is what you want, and they can cut off those passing lanes. Of course, also we then have our wing backs, like I was saying before, and join the attack and overlap. This is simply because I want those extra runners going forward. Now, if your opponent's wing back are of course bombing forward, it means that those wing backs of yours will be able to get in behind past the 3 centre backs. There's going to be an overload of attackers, and it's exactly why I have my CDMs on stay back while attacking. And what you don't realise is your wing backs are getting forward, his wing backs are coming back. There's a 5 at the back. When you're attacking, your wing backs are forward, but his are back, which means as you lose the ball, your wing backs are still going to be tracking those wing backs of your opponent on the 5-1-2-2, the left wing back and the right wing back, as they're bombing forward. As yours are coming back, theirs are bombing forward. They're still keeping in line, they're still tracking, and whilst they're tracking, you'll still have your 2 centre backs and 2 CDMs to break up the play if need be. That's the instructions, and it's the exact reason why it counters the 5-1-2-2. It's because of how the attack lines up with that defensive line, and of course because you have the sits at the back. You have your 2 CDMs and your 4 defenders to line up with the overload of attack of the 5-1-2-2. In my opinion, it's the best formation to counter. I've tried against different pros. I feel like it works. It's being backed up by other pros as well, as per their tweets. So I think this is actually a viable formation, lads. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't yet subscribed, do so. We get the No Money Spent road to an event coming up. I literally vlog my whole experience as a pro player in terms of trying to make an event on a No Money Spent account. Last year we hit 10th in the Oceania region, and we hit top 5 to hit the Air World Cup this year. That would be great. But hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned for that. But as always, I hope you have a good day. I'm out. Sayonara. Au revoir. Adios. Salam. Ciao. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. And lastly, if you do want any pre-gaming fuel or supplement, then head over to atpscience.com, which is the first link in the description, and use the code AussieFIFA at checkout to get yourself a discount. Not only is it the cheapest way to get supplements, but it helps me out a ton, guys, so thank you.